Good evening. This is Doc Severson for the TheoTrade report for Tuesday, July 25th. I'm recording this report a little bit early, about 2 hours before the closing bell, but most of the moves have already been made. So far, last night, as we talked yesterday in Google has come down a good 30 points since yesterday's highs after earnings. Basically, all of the good news was already priced into Google. There was some talk about pay-per-click, things like that. The costs were up a little bit, but this, again, I think the biggest issue here is that all the good news is priced into there. Google had nowhere to go. Now, on the other side of the ledger, we've got Caterpillar, which has exploded for another 6 points to the upside, so huge move, as well as under the who knew category is McDonald's. McDonald's has jumped up another 7 points here. Who knew that Happy Meals could be so profitable? So we are seeing somewhat of a rotation today out of tech. If we focus on the S&P 500 sectors, we're seeing big gains in builders, in energy, and financials, as well as the consumer XLP, so staples as well as discretionary. Everything else is getting pretty much hammered, which is not much left, really. So healthcare as well as utilities are not doing as well. So what this means is that the Nasdaq is flat as can be right now, and this is really not a surprise given how much of a strong move that we've had in just the last couple of weeks here. Really, since the July 4th weekend, we've seen an explosion from the bottom of this consolidation pattern from the Nasdaq, but this has got nowhere to go right now. We're at a level of linearity of this move where typically we have seen this before, right? When it gets down to about the 25 area and the strongest indices, this is where we start to see corrective moves coming into the tape. So whether or not it's just a one-day wonder like what we had in mid-May, or more just consolidation, well, actually we've had a couple of one-day wonders here, which has caused these movements. But we can see the price on the Nasdaq. This is what I would anticipate seeing. Perhaps sideways, perhaps down, usually somewhere in between there is really all that it takes, just for another week or two before we're going to see another buy point on the Nasdaq. We do have a lot of energy on the weekly chart, unknown on the monthly. So we've just never been, we're into uncharted territory down here. Every time that we've seen this level of exhaustion to the downside, we've had a major reaction here. But so far, this market's just been bulletproof because of the, we know the reasons why, because of all the markets awash in liquidity, because we have negative interest rates around the world. All that liquidity's got to find a home. There's no other yield anywhere else but stocks right now. So until we get other areas of the world raising rates, this is going to remain the same thing here. We can't fight against this. So in the short term, it's going to be a little bit of a baton toss back and forth between Nasdaq tech stocks and other great big Dow stocks such as, Caterpillar, what we talked about. Look at this big breakout move on Caterpillar up to all-time highs. Right up there, okay? Again, McDonald's, huge move on McDonald's. Just, can you imagine a fast food stock going absolutely parabolic? And it's funny because wasn't it not that long ago that Chipotle was owned by the same company? Now, what we're also seeing is the Russell is starting to take off. Now, this is very important because if the Russell does take the lead on this market and starts to run, it's been doing all of this work. Basically, it's been going sideways since the beginning of the year. So that's a full 7 months of doing absolutely nothing right now. And because of that, all of that energy just sort of wound up like that is going to release like a spring. So if the Russell starts to run, if we start to see money coming into the Russell, that is kind of a leading indicator. It's kind of a canary in the coal mine for fund managers saying, you know what, I'm okay with risk right now. So they're going to go risk on, in favor of risk on for some of these smaller companies, which is a much gutsier move because they are more illiquid. They are more difficult to move funds around in and out of without moving the market against themselves. Now, tech may not be dead just yet just because of Google, although Facebook has had a little bit of it just kind of gone flat today because of this and actually got hammered in the after hours. Same issue here, complete exhaustion. Is Facebook got anywhere to go at this point after this rally off of 150? Earnings will be tomorrow after the bell for Facebook. So again, we'll be sitting here. I don't anticipate a whole lot of movement in the market until for the next 2 days, really. So for the remainder of today and into tomorrow, I think we're going to get a very, very flat market. Not only for Facebook, but also for Thursday. Amazon is coming up on Thursday after market. And that's going to be an important one as well, too. Obviously, Amazon just continues to run off of this big consolidation and movement from there. So there's still a fair amount of energy here for Amazon to run, believe it or not, over $1,000 a share. So again, I mentioned yesterday that 38% of the S&P was going to report this week, and most of the big tech stocks. Now, Apple reports, I believe, next Tuesday. I believe it's on the 1st. So that's going to be it for the earnings season. Really, that's going to be it for the earnings season. Most of the big, smoke and thunder is going to be gone by early next week. And then you have to ask yourself, what is going to move the market after that point? And I really don't have an answer for you at all besides earnings. What else could possibly move the market? Are we going to have the Fed institute more QE again? Right now they're still in the mode of threatening rate hikes. They're not going to be able to just flip that around. In fact, if that were to happen, if the Fed were to say, you know what, the economy is just not as strong as we thought it was, we're going to pull back from there, I think that would upset the market as well. So watch for another day or so here, a very mild price action, but be prepared for some fireworks when we get Facebook and then Amazon. So Wednesday and Thursday after market are going to be the big announcers for this week. Hey guys, before you go, I want to talk to you about a quick presentation that I'm going to be giving to our members on Wednesday night, July 26th at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. So this is actually a 1-hour class I'm giving to our members at TheoTrade that we're going to invite you to kind of look over their shoulder and attend as well too, for free. And so what I'm going to be going over is a new strategy that I'm going to be teaching to the members, where we're going to be looking at the Nasdaq. And so we're going to be charting the NQ here, and this is a multiple time frame arrangement where we're going to be looking at an anchor chart and basically scoping out the trade on the anchor chart, understanding what the overall trend is, and then identifying swings that we want to participate in. And then once we identify that swing that we want to participate in, whether it's long or short, then what we're going to go over to is over here on the right side, the signal charts, and identify a high probability entry point and a stop point for that trade as well too, where we want to enter. That's going to give us maximum reward to risk. Now, one of the interesting points about this strategy is that, so even though I'm charting the Nasdaq futures here, we're going to be taking trades with the Qs options. So we're actually going over to the Qs options. So we're going to be buying puts and calls, simple option trades for this. Now, one of the reasons why we're doing this is because there's just been a lot of demand for this, because the Nasdaq is really the #1 index right now in terms of movement. It's really dictating the movement of the entire market, number one. Number two, not everybody can trade futures. Not everybody can even chart futures in the Nasdaq, right? There's people in different countries around the world that do not have access to futures. They can't trade futures. So looking for something where they can trade something very simply, such as the options on the Qs. And in today's world with a very low implied volatility, there's probably not a better time to use a long option like this as a proxy for a directional instrument. So again, you're invited to look over my shoulder this Wednesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central, Wednesday, July 26th. So I'm going to be talking about the Qs intraday system. So hopefully you can make it and get something out of it. If you can't, we will provide the recording of the session. You can watch it later. Hope to see you there. Take care.